Hey, everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a book that's all about understanding how your mind works, Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. This book is a masterpiece in behavioral psychology and decision-making, written by a Nobel Prize-winning economist. If you've ever wondered why you make the decisions you do, why you sometimes act irrationally, or how your brain processes information, this book is for you. Kahneman breaks down the complexities of human thought into two systems: System 1, fast, intuitive, and emotional, and System 2, slow, logical, and deliberate. Through decades of research, he reveals how these systems shape our judgments, decisions, and behaviors, often in ways we don't even realize. So, grab a notebook, sit back, and let's explore the key ideas, lessons, and takeaways from this groundbreaking book. Overview of the book. Thinking, Fast and Slow is the culmination of Daniel Kahneman's lifelong research in psychology and behavioral economics. The book is divided into 5 parts, each focusing on a different aspect of how we think and make decisions. 1. Two systems of thinking. Kahneman introduces the concept of System 1 and System 2, explaining how they interact and influence our decisions. 2. Heuristics and biases. He explores the mental shortcuts we use, heuristics, and the biases that often lead us astray. 3. Overconfidence. Kahneman discusses how we tend to overestimate our knowledge and abilities, leading to poor decisions. 4. Choices. He delves into how we make decisions under uncertainty and the irrationalities that often creep into our choices. 5. Two selves. Kahneman introduces the idea of the experiencing self and the remembering self, and how they shape our perception of happiness and well-being. Through a combination of experiments, anecdotes, and real-world examples, Kahneman provides a comprehensive guide to understanding the quirks and flaws of human thinking. Key themes and lessons. Let's break down the core lessons and themes from Thinking, Fast and Slow. These are the ideas that have resonated with readers and made this book a must-read for anyone interested in psychology, decision-making, or self-improvement. 1. The two systems of thinking. Kahneman introduces the concept of two systems that drive our thinking. System 1, fast, automatic, intuitive, and emotional. It operates effortlessly and is responsible for quick judgments and reactions. System 2, slow, logical, deliberate, and effortful. It's responsible for complex tasks like calculations, reasoning, and self-control. Example: imagine you're driving a car on an empty road. System 1 handles the routine tasks like steering and staying in your lane. But if you encounter an unexpected obstacle, System 2 kicks in to help you navigate carefully. The takeaway: understanding these two systems helps you recognize when you're relying on intuition, System 1, versus when you need to engage in deliberate thinking, System 2. This awareness can help you make better decisions. 2. Cognitive ease and cognitive strain. Kahneman explains how our brains prefer cognitive ease, situations that feel familiar and require little effort. When things are easy to process, we're more likely to accept them as true or good. On the other hand, cognitive strain, when something is difficult to process, makes us more skeptical and analytical. Example: a well-designed advertisement with clear, simple messaging feels easy to process, making you more likely to trust the product. In contrast, a poorly designed ad with confusing text might make you skeptical. The lesson: be aware of how cognitive ease influences your judgments. Just because something feels easy or familiar doesn't mean it's true or right. 3. Heuristics and biases. Kahneman explores the mental shortcuts, heuristics, we use to make decisions quickly. While these shortcuts are often helpful, they can also lead to systematic errors, biases. A. The availability heuristic. We judge the likelihood of an event based on how easily examples come to mind. For instance, if you hear about a plane crash on the news, you might overestimate the risk of flying, even though it's statistically safer than driving. Example: after watching a documentary about shark attacks, you might avoid swimming in the ocean, even though the actual risk is extremely low. The takeaway: be cautious of over-relying on vivid or recent examples when making decisions. Always seek out objective data. B. The anchoring effect. Our decisions are often influenced by an initial piece of information, the anchor. even if it's irrelevant. Example, if you're negotiating a salary and the employer mentions a low number first, that number can anchor your expectations, making it harder to negotiate a higher amount. The lesson: be aware of anchors in decision-making. Always question whether the starting point is reasonable or arbitrary. C. The representativeness heuristic. We judge the probability of something based on how closely it matches our stereotypes or expectations. Example, if someone is described as quiet and introverted, you might assume they're a librarian rather than a salesperson, even though there are far more salespeople in the population. The takeaway: don't let stereotypes cloud your judgment. Always consider base rates and statistical probabilities. 4. Overconfidence. Kahneman discusses how we tend to be overconfident in our judgments and predictions. We often believe we know more than we do, leading to poor decisions. A. The illusion of validity. We overestimate the accuracy of our judgments, especially when we have a lot of information. Example, a stock trader might believe they can predict market movements based on past trends, even though the market is inherently unpredictable. The lesson: be humble about your knowledge and predictions. Recognize that uncertainty is a fundamental part of life. B. The planning fallacy. We tend to underestimate how long tasks will take and how much they will cost. Example, a construction project might be planned to take 6 months and cost 1 million, Butitensip taken gayer and costing 1 million, Butitensip taken gayer and costing 2 million. The takeaway: always account for potential delays and overruns when planning. Use historical data to make more realistic estimates. 5. Loss aversion. Kahneman introduces the concept of loss aversion, the idea that we feel the pain of losing more intensely than the pleasure of gaining. This leads to risk-averse behavior. Example, you might refuse to sell a losing stock because you don't want to lock in the loss, even though holding on to it might lead to further losses. The lesson: be aware of how loss aversion influences your decisions. Sometimes, cutting your losses is the better option. 6. Framing effects. The way information is presented, framed, can significantly influence our decisions. Example, if a doctor says a surgery has a 90% survival rate, you're more likely to agree to it than if they say it has a 10% mortality rate, even though both statements mean the same thing. The takeaway: pay attention to how information is framed. Always look for the underlying facts, not just the presentation. 7. The endowment effect. We tend to value things more highly simply because we own them. Example, you might refuse to sell an old car for $5,000 because you feel it's worth more, even though you wouldn't pay $5,000 because you feel it's worth more, even though you wouldn't pay $5,000 to buy the same car. The lesson: be aware of how ownership biases your perception of value. Try to evaluate things objectively. 8. The two selves. Kahneman introduces the idea of the experiencing self, the part of you that lives in the moment, and the remembering self, the part of you that reflects on past experiences. These two selves often have different perspectives on happiness and well-being. Example, you might have a great vacation overall, but a single bad experience, like a delayed flight, might dominate your memory of the trip. The takeaway: pay attention to both your experiencing self and remembering self. Strive to create experiences that are enjoyable in the moment and leave positive memories. Actionable takeaways. Now that we've covered the key lessons, let's talk about how you can apply these principles in your own life. Here are some actionable steps inspired by Thinking Fast and Slow. 1. Slow down. When making important decisions, engage System 2. Take your time, analyze the facts, and avoid relying solely on intuition. 2. Question your biases. Be aware of heuristics and biases like availability, anchoring, and representativeness. Always seek objective data. 3. Beware of overconfidence. Be humble about your knowledge and predictions. Account for uncertainty in your plans. 4. Reframe decisions. Pay attention to how information is presented. Look for the underlying facts, not just the framing. 5. Focus on the big picture. Don't let loss aversion or the endowment effect cloud your judgment. Evaluate decisions based on long-term outcomes. 6. Balance the two selves. Strive to create experiences that are enjoyable in the moment and leave positive memories. Criticisms and controversies. While Thinking, Fast and Slow has been widely praised, some critics argue that Kahneman's focus on biases and errors paints an overly pessimistic view of human decision-making. Others point out that the book can be dense and challenging to read, especially for those unfamiliar with psychology or economics. However, the book's insights are invaluable for anyone looking to understand the complexities of human thought and improve their decision-making skills. Conclusion: Thinking, Fast and Slow is a must-read for anyone interested in understanding how their mind works. Daniel Kahneman's groundbreaking research reveals the quirks and flaws of human thinking, offering practical insights to help you make better decisions and avoid common pitfalls. Whether you're a student, professional, or just someone curious about psychology, this book will change the way you think about thinking. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more book summaries and psychology insights. Let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway from Thinking, Fast and Slow is, or if there's another book you'd like me to cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.